Okay, I think this is what most people really want to see that are interested in how I store my vintage ephemera, because this is my cart. I showed the little drawer unit that has the smaller pieces, but this cart has more pieces and larger things. So I use the top to just store vintage papers, and the smaller things I've got some. I'm so excited about these vintage receipt pads that I actually found at flea markets. So I have those. These are just pages off of one. The other one is, oh, it's right here. So I have this book of these receipts. It is so cool. And I've sold some in vintage ephemera kits, and I may be able to do some more. But that's them. And then other things that I found at flea markets, this little friendship book, Girl Scout friendship book, and little booklets and appointment books, bridge pads and vintage game pads, score sheets. This is, I found all of this stuff from that guy at the flea market that I mentioned that had all the stuff just in boxes and thrown in and no care taken, and I just pulled things out and bought a batch. And so these are all report cards. It was all from one guy, had his name on it from high school, and he lived down in Philadelphia. But this was interesting. It's a film envelope, has his name on it, and inside it has the film strip. So my little thing that I bought that I can digitize my dad's 35mm slides, I can also look at these. So I just have to put a little adapter thing on it, and I have to actually get it out and, you know, use it. But I want to look at those film strips and see what's on them. I can digitize them if I want to, but I doubt if I will. And then I found this at an antique store nearby, and it's American Legion raffle ticket things, and it's from 1954. So there's two little packs, and they're different designs on them, different things. So I'll be using them in junk journal projects. So that's just the smaller stuff here in the front. And then I have, oh, I'm sorry, these cardboards to divide. This one says greeting cards, so I've got vintage greeting cards there, and I have vintage photos in this section, and my green stamps in here. I used to have a lot more, but I've used them and sold some in vintage ephemera kits and given some away. So I still have some. And then I have larger pieces back here of, there's my Girl Scout calendar book. This little sleeve, I've got some sleeves in here to help protect some of the larger pieces. So these were cut out of, I think it was a 1912 Pictorial Review magazine. And beautiful, but kind of fragile, so I put them in the plastic. And then this is more pieces that I either found at flea markets or that were gifted to me. I can make copies of these. I don't use these originals because most of them I only have one of, but I keep them in plastic. And these things were given to me. This fax paper, some graph paper, and this form. That's pretty neat. So that's what's back here. And in this fabric pouch that I have, it has some vintage foreign text, foreign language books. They're a little fragile, so they're in there. This is a fragile children's book. I made some copies of those pictures because they're too fragile to fold or anything. And some various taller papers are back here. Some Braille paper that my friend sent me. Can you see the Braille there? These are receipts from my dad's house from the early 70s, mostly from the 70s. And I think because they're pretty pinks and yellows, I thought I could use them in some of my projects. Some vintage papers, notebook papers that are vintage, things like that. So that's the, oh, and in the side here I have this wooden box with postcards, well, not really postcards, playing cards and game money. Just pieces that'll fit in there. And they're not, a lot of these things are not really vintage. Some of them are old, but not really old. And then on the middle shelf, I have just, this is a receipt book that's not extremely vintage because it has a barcode on it. But I like to use these for journaling spots in my journals. And another statement book. And this one is vintage. It's a 1951 appointment book. And these are the papers that'll just fit in here. There's a small ledger book in here, and this one is vintage. Western Railway Company. And this tablet was my grandmother's. That's her writing. She was 100 years old when she died. Here's another vintage ledger book, but these are small size, and some vintage composition books that I found at a flea market. They're in here. And then next to them I have these vintage flashcards that I got at a flea market. There were actually 2 boxes of these cards, and they were $9 each. There were quite a few cards in it, and I bought one because I thought that was kind of a lot. But I was able to sell some, and I've given some away and used them, and I thought $9 really wasn't that bad for them. But the next time I went, the other box was gone. And I got these at the same flea market, different day. But these are those vintage vocabulary cards. I think there were 1,000 in this box, and I've used some, and given some away, and sold some in kits. Recipe cards here from a vintage recipe thing that I bought at a flea market. I love these. I haven't done a thing with them yet because I kind of don't want to give them up, but they're little, you cut them out and fold them. They're just little toys. Nabisco Town Carnival. I found them at a flea market. And these big divider cards. And these ledger billhead sheets. This was a really good buy at a flea market. I bought a box of 5 of these pads for, I can't remember, but it really wasn't much money. And I love them. So that's what's, oh, I have this box too. What's in here? Sometimes I even forget what I have. How do you open it? There it is. Oh, this has some other small pieces. These are bus tickets that I bought from a vendor, Etsy seller, and some vintage pieces. Many of these were given to me. And then on the bottom, I have, take these things off, and it's all vintage music down here. Music books mostly, but some sheet music too. So I have a lot of music. And there's my 1961 Spiegel catalog. I love this book. Found that at a flea market. This box contains my vintage wrapping paper that I found at a flea market. I can't wait till my flea market opens up again. Not till spring. And then this has some stationery in it. This I got free. I don't know how old it is, but it was made in India. And it's just beautiful paper, and it comes with these gorgeous envelopes. So I recently acquired that. Somebody gave it to me. This one has some Hummel figurines. This one I got for 29 cents, and it's just got some, I think, yeah, it's Hallmark. It says Hallmark on the ribbon, but it's just got some threads and a pin cushion up there in the corner. So it's cute. It'll be cute in a sewing journal. And then this Hallmark embossed pink stationery and envelopes. And I still have some of my little ducks. I don't have any of the envelopes left, but I've got the duck paper. So that's that. That's my little 3-shelf cart that I got at Michael's. And I'm not sure if I have any more storage organization videos to share with you, but if I, oh yeah, my collage pieces. So I have at least that video yet to do. So keep on watching. Thank you.